Have you ever heard of a city so magnificent, so wealthy, that it was forged not from stone or wood, but entirely from shimmering brass? A city lost to the sands of time, spoken of only in hushed whispers and ancient tales. This is the story of the legendary city of brass, a tale from the classic collection, * 1001 Nights *, that has captivated imaginations for centuries. Our journey begins in Damascus, during the reign of the great Caliph Abd al-Malik ibn Marwan. One day, while conversing with his courtiers, the talk turned to King Solomon, the wise and powerful ruler who is said to command not only humans but also the jinn-powerful supernatural beings. The caliph became fascinated by tales of jinn that had rebelled against Solomon and were imprisoned in brass bottles, sealed with the king's powerful signet ring. A burning question took hold of him. Where were these bottles now? He became obsessed with the idea of finding them, of seeing with his own eyes the proof of Solomon's legendary power. Driven by this powerful curiosity, the caliph summoned one of his most trusted and capable men, the emir Musa ibn Nusayr. He tasked Musa with an epic quest, to journey into the vast, uncharted deserts of Africa and find the fabled city of brass, where it was believed these imprisoned jinn were kept. It was a daunting mission, a journey into the unknown, but Musa, loyal and brave, accepted the challenge without hesitation. Musa assembled a formidable expedition. He gathered skilled guides who knew the treacherous desert paths, scholars who could decipher ancient texts, and soldiers to protect them from the myriad dangers of the wilderness. They packed supplies for a long and arduous journey, water, food, and tools, and set off from Damascus, their hearts filled with a mix of apprehension and excitement. Their destination was a place that existed more in legend than on any map. For months, they traveled. The landscape shifted from the fertile lands they knew to endless dunes of golden sand. They faced scorching days under a relentless sun and bone-chilling nights under a blanket of stars. The desert was a harsh and unforgiving master. They battled sandstorms that blotted out the sky, navigated through deceptive mirages that promised water where there was only sand, and constantly guarded against unseen threats lurking in the shadows of the dunes. The journey tested their endurance, their faith, and their resolve. Along the way, they encountered isolated tribes and wise old sheiks who had lived their entire lives in the desert's embrace. Musa, a wise leader, always approached them with respect, seeking their guidance. One such sheikh, a man named Talib ibn Saul, a scholar of ancient lore, proved to be their most valuable ally. Talib had heard the legends of the city of brass from his ancestors. He warned Musa that the city was not a welcoming place. It was a monument to pride and a tomb for the greedy. He told them the city was enchanted, guarded by powerful magic and illusions designed to repel any who dared to approach. But he also knew the way. With Talib as their guide, the expedition pressed onward, their sense of purpose renewed. After what felt like an eternity of travel, they saw it. Rising from the horizon, shimmering under the desert sun, was a sight that defied belief. It wasn't a mirage. Towers and domes of polished brass reflected the sunlight with blinding intensity, making the city appear as if it were forged from pure gold. The walls were immense, seamless, and unbreachable, with no gates or doors to be found. It was the city of brass, silent and imposing. Awe, mixed with a chilling sense of unease, filled the hearts of Musa's men. The city was magnificent, yet utterly lifeless. No sounds of life, no smoke from chimneys, no people on the walls. It was a beautiful, silent tomb. Determined to get inside, Musa ordered his men to circle the city, searching for any possible entrance. They walked for 2 full days, but the smooth, towering brass walls offered no weakness. They were perfectly constructed, a testament to an incredible, long-lost craftsmanship. How could they enter a city with no gate? Frustration began to set in. They tried to build scaffolding and use grappling hooks, but the walls were too high and too smooth. Every attempt failed. It was then that Talib, the wise sheikh, pointed to a series of inscriptions carved into the wall. They were in an ancient, forgotten language. Talib, being a scholar of such things, began to decipher the strange glyphs. The inscriptions were not directions, they were warnings. They were poems and proverbs about the futility of wealth, the arrogance of kings, and the inevitability of death. One inscription read, "O son of Adam, how you are heedless in your hope, while death is seeking you. Enter, and see the fate of those who came before." The words sent a shiver down their spines. This was not a city of life. It was a monument to death. Following the clues in the inscriptions, they eventually found a hidden mechanism, a secret panel that opened into a dark, descending staircase. With torches lit, Musa and a small group of his bravest men descended into the heart of the silent city. The air was thick with the dust of ages, and an eerie silence hung over everything. As they emerged into the city proper, they were stunned. The streets were paved with marble, the marketplaces filled with shops where goods still lay on display. They saw bakeries with petrified bread in the ovens, and money changers with scales, holding coins of gold and silver. And everywhere, there were people, but these people were frozen in time. A shopkeeper stood behind his counter, a customer holding out a coin. Guards stood at their posts, spears in hand. A mother held her child. All of them were perfectly preserved, their bodies turned to stone or dried to husks, caught in the final moments of their lives. A sudden, catastrophic event had wiped out the entire population in an instant. It was a haunting, tragic scene. The city wasn't empty, it was full of the dead. Exploring further, they reached the Grand Palace at the city's center. It was even more opulent than the rest of the city, with gardens where the fountains had long run dry and halls adorned with jewels and gold. In the main throne room, they found the city's queen. She sat upon a throne of ivory and emeralds, a priceless crown on her head, adorned in the finest silks and jewels. Like her subjects, she was perfectly preserved. On a plaque at her feet, her story was told. She was Queen Tadmor, a ruler of immense power and wealth who believed her riches could defy fate itself. The inscription was a lament, a confession of her arrogance, and a warning to all who might follow. She had hoarded her wealth, but it could not save her or her people from a divine punishment, a terrible famine followed by a blast of death that froze them all in time. And then, Musa found what he had been sent for. In a locked chamber beneath the throne room, they discovered rows upon rows of brass bottles, each stoppered with lead and sealed with the unmistakable signet of King Solomon. These were the imprisoned jinn. Musa knew he could not release them. His task was only to find them. He took a few as proof for the caliph, leaving the rest undisturbed. The final and most chilling discovery was in the queen's private chambers. Lying on a bed of silk was a beautiful woman, seemingly asleep. A tablet beside her warned any who entered not to touch her. It spoke of a powerful jinn guarding her, ready to strike down anyone who dared disturb her rest. Despite the clear warning, one of Musa's men, overcome by her beauty and the lure of the jewels she wore, reached out to touch her. The moment his fingers made contact, a terrifying, shadowy jinn emerged from the woman's mouth, brandishing a sword of pure fire. With a single, swift strike, the jinn slew the foolish man before vanishing back into the body. The lesson was brutal and final. Some treasures are not meant to be claimed. Humbled and deeply affected by what they had witnessed, Musa and his surviving men left the city of brass. They sealed the entrance behind them, leaving the silent city and its tragic inhabitants to their eternal rest. They had found what they sought, but the discovery brought no joy, only a profound and somber understanding of the fleeting nature of worldly power and wealth. Musa returned to Damascus and presented his findings to the caliph. He described the magnificent but dead city, the petrified people, and the final, terrible lesson of Queen Tadmor. He showed the caliph the brass bottles containing the jinn. The caliph, upon hearing the tale, was not triumphant. He was deeply moved and humbled. He realized the true treasure was not gold or power, but wisdom and humility. The quest had not been about finding riches, but about finding a lesson. The story of the city of brass is more than just an adventure. It's a powerful parable that has echoed through the ages. It reminds us that pride, greed, and the pursuit of material wealth above all else lead only to ruin. The silent golden streets of the city stand as an eternal warning that our time here is limited, and true wealth lies not in what we accumulate, but in the wisdom we gain and the humility we embrace. It's a timeless tale about the ultimate triumph of mortality over ambition. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into one of the most fascinating tales from * 1001 Nights *. If you enjoyed this story, please hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel for more explorations into myth and legend. And let me know in the comments what story you'd like to hear next. Until next time, stay curious.